This is Smiles TV. Welcome to Smiles TV. You're watching the best community affairs broadcast in the country. Yes, indeed. And we have a wonderful broadcast for you today. First of all, I'll be talking with Evangelist Alisha Thorpe. This young lady, her presence just emanates the love of God. She has a book, and it's called From Grief to Goodness. Alisha Thorpe is going to talk to us about some hard times and some good times. It's a love story. That's how I take it anyway. A love story about her husband, a love story about God. Remember, Jesus Christ was born of a virgin. He was crucified and buried, and he rose on the third day. Confess with your mouth the Lord Jesus, and believe in your heart that God has raised him from the dead, and thou shalt be saved. Stay tuned for more Smiles. Smiles TV, sitting here with Alisha Thorpe, who has a book out called From Grief to Goodness. Also, don't go away after the first half, because during the second half of the broadcast, we have What's on Your Mind with Dr. Des. That's Dr. Desarie Holmes, and she has an interesting guest that you're going to love to just sit back and enjoy. Welcome, Alisha Thorpe, Evangelist Alisha Thorpe. I know you're not into titles and all of that,
yes,
but I think it's important that people realize that you have owned what God has given you. Welcome to Smiles TV.
Thank you for having me.
And I'm sitting here and I'm watching you, and you need to know that Alisha told me that she modeled, and you can tell that she did. But today she's here to talk about her book, From Grief to Goodness. And this lady wrote this book in 90 days.
Oh, God.
Let's start there. Let's start with the 90-day right.
Wow. 90 days came, and it was birthed through my husband passing away. My husband was elder. He loved God. We did street ministry. The name of our ministry is Faith Walk Ministry. We was a ministry without walls. We come from, at the time it was DMCC. Pastor Monty Weatherall is our pastor.
Yeah.
And back in 2013, the Lord had put on our heart to go out. My husband, a lot of people don't know, his name was Elder Tyrone Thorpe. He was hooked on crack, and he became hooked on Jesus. So he felt like he had a calling to go back to the lost. Somebody had to pull him out. And so we wanted to go back in the streets and do street ministry. So back in 2013, we had left our church and started street ministry. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, I have seen lives be changed. We talking about ministering to prostitutes, people that's on drugs, people that was homeless, meeting family, children, no place to stay. So that was really hard. To leave our church to do that. But, like the Bible say, when I was hungry, you didn't feed me. When I was naked, you didn't clothe me. When I was sick, you didn't come and see about me. So that's what God believed that we should be doing, is going for the lost, because he's coming back one day.
He is coming back, and I have to ask you this before we get into the meat of your book. Give us a little history, a little background on you, and a little bit about your testimony from early. I know you're a PK's kid, just like me. My dad was a pastor as well. So tell us a little bit about your upbringing.
Coming up, it struggles with me and my sisters. We're close today, but just being away from them, my mom not raising me, my grandmother raised me, I'm grateful.
Okay.
So I'm six of, it's 3 girls and 3 boys, so I'm the second. And I have 2 kids. My son is in the military.
And you were married prior to
I was married prior to it. My first marriage was, I got married when I was 18 years old.
Okay.
Rebelling, wasn't listening to my grandmother. She saved my life. She tried to save my life. But you know how we are as children. We think we know it all. So I got married at a young age and was in an abusive relationship with the first marriage.
And how long did that marriage last?
That marriage lasted for maybe almost 2 years.
Okay.
But I was in it before we was married. I was in it for about 4 years. I started dating him when I was 16.
So during that time, during the hard times of that marriage, were you in Christ at the time in terms of your relationship with God?
Yes,
Where was it?
I got baptized when I was 5. My father baptized me when I was 5. So you know, as they say, train up a child, you know, where they won't stray away. So I was always, you know, connected to Jesus, but you know how we all fall short. And so at that time, I was still trying to find myself. I'm 16 years old, you know, trying to find out who I am, you know, trying to search for love in the wrong places.
So you got married. The relationship was not what apparently you wanted or that what God intended, because God never intends for us to be abused.
Right.
You know, and I think a lot of Christians get that mixed up and feel that, well, I got to go through this. You know, we do go through things, but God does call us to stand on His word and stand up to some things. So, okay, so you were in a bad marriage, and then from there, how did you end that marriage?
I ended that marriage with, had to hide out, had to make back home, you know, try to get money to come back home. At the time, I was living in Texas, Killeen, Texas, you know, had to quit my job, had to stay with some military people till I got me and my daughter. She was just 3 months old, you know, and got my stuff shipped back here. Didn't go back and live with my family because I was just believing what my grandmother said. Once I left, I could never come back. So I wound up living with my mother-in-law, and she kind of hid me out, didn't let my, at that time, my husband didn't let him know where I was at, and came back, got my first job working at McDonald's as a crew manager, and then from there, got my own apartment, and then just started raising my daughter.
From grief to goodness. You know, I really want to continue saying this because Evangelist Alisha Thorpe has a magnificent story for you. So from the so-called bad marriage, or however you want to call that, tell us the next steps and what has happened since then.
Well, the next step after that marriage, I wound up, was single for like about 10 years, and then I wound up remarrying somewhere else, which is my son's dad. And then I was in a mental abuse because he was started cheating on me. And by then I was closer with God. I was going to church and serving and on the, you know, missionary board and doing all that. And I was like, yes, this is my second marriage. I'm believing that this is going to work out. So we was married for almost 7 years.
Was he in the church?
No, he wasn't.
He was not.
He was not in church.
So you were married again for 7 years, and then came some goodness.
Came some goodness. I just made up my mind to just put my body on the altar. I said, Lord, I'm doing it the wrong way. I'm looking at men's in all kind of errors, but I want you to teach me how to be that wife, teach me how to stay married and hold on to it. So as them years came by, here come Tyrone, which I called him the king of my life. My prayer was... And
in the book, he called you the queen.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
And then I told him, I said, Lord, I just believe the next husband you give me, this is going to be my last. And I know you're going to drop him down from heaven. And I wasn't looking, ladies, gentlemen, I wasn't looking at all. I was just seeking God. I've been celibate for 8 years. I was practicing celibacy, you know, not having sex, not just going out on dates, but just me and God.
And he was as well.
And he was as well. He was celibate for 7 years. I've never met a man like him. The very first day, on our first date, he said to me, he said, if you're one of them loose women, I'm not going to be with you. He said, I've been saving myself for 7 years. He said, I'm praying and I'm asking for God to bring me my wife. And
how beautiful is that?
Yes, that was awesome.
So and God put you two together.
He did.
Then you married, you're having a beautiful relationship, and go on from there.
We was just traveling the world, you know, ministering together. My husband had a degree in biblical counseling, so I first ministry was believing for couples, you know, praying and keeping them together and counseling them through the help of the Lord, because we can't do nothing without God.
That's right.
And so we have seen marriage being saved, delivered, and, you know, we was marrying couples and, you know, just working hand in hand together. And come 2013, my husband, we found out that he had vocal cancer.
Wow, and you have been married how long?
Going into my second year, he did the biopsy on our anniversary, my second year anniversary. And I'm like, okay, Lord, what is this?
And then he ended up having treatment done.
He wound up having 28 treatments.
And it was in remission for a little while.
Yeah, he was in remission. And then come 2015, you know, he kept saying, you know, counseling jumped out and God cancer stepped out and God stepped in. And so that was our logo. We was just trusting God. We leaned on Psalms 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. So we was still believing for his healing. And then 2015 came with a blow. When he did the second biopsy, they told us it was stage 3. My husband said, we're not going to be moved by what it looked like because I know God is the healer. He healed me from crack. I know he's going to heal me for this. But true enough, God did heal him. He didn't heal him the way we wanted, because we know on the cross that he was crucified and he died for our sins and our iniquity and, sickness. So he passed away. Now here I am as a nurse on the other side. Now I got to take care of my husband. Took off work for 7 months. Didn't know if I was going to have my job. By the way, I didn't mention I work for the VA hospital as a nurse. Right. So I wound up taking care of him, and he passed away.
So you must be like, okay, God, is this a trick? What kind of games are you playing? Did you go through that process?
I did. I began to question him. I'm like, Lord, we have so many people, why my husband?
After all of this time, the abusive relationships, and now you give me someone and you take him?
You take him away from me.
How did you deal with that?
With prayer again. Here I am, face God, even though I'm dealing with sickness. But Lord, visit me in my bedroom. August the 28th. It's been a year that my husband passed away. He said, my daughter, I'm going to allow you to get a book, and I'm going to allow you to talk about your pain and your suffering and the things that you've been going through. He said, you're going to be able to put it in the book. I didn't mention to you, after my husband passed away, I lost my memory. I couldn't think of nothing. Wow. Only thing I can remember was our wedding day. But I kid you not, in January 2018, the Lord gave me my memory back when I started writing, because he said, I wanted you to write this book to help so many people that deals with loss, rejection, depression. He said, I'm going to give it all back to you.
You told me you wrote this book in 90 days.
I didn't do it. It was God.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't see myself writing at all.
What do you want people to get from this?
I want people to know, even though you lose your loved ones, and if they're a believer, they're not lost. They just went on home to be with the Lord. And I just remember what the Bible says, to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. And I just want to say to any person that's serving God and that's not serving God, God can still heal you. He can take you from grief to goodness. He can take you from your pain to joy. And you're looking at a miracle. I tried to take my life 3 times.
Wow.
You're looking at a miracle. 2 broken marriage, and then now being blessed with my king. And then now he's gone.
The goodness. Okay, so tell us about God's grace and his goodness that he's shown you during these times while your husband has been gone.
The goodness that God has, he's back my husband. He's my spiritual father. He's my anchor. He's my hope, even in a time of sadness. The goodness, I'm still able to go on, even though my husband been passed away. And I know he got many jobs and many works for me to do, and to be able to help other people that lose loved ones, to tell them that you can go on, because you will see them again. And the goodness out of all this, I still have my peace of mind.
Wow, and that's that peace that passes understanding.
Yes.
Wow, this is a remarkable story, and I thank God for you. If anyone is interested in getting your book, how can they do that?
618-792-0168. And also my website is www.alishathorpe.com. You will really be blessed by reading my book.
There is no way we can exhaust everything in this book in this first half of the broadcast. And if you get the opportunity, I want to ask you, will you come back to Smiles?
I sure will.
And you see her on camera. She's an evangelist, and she says she sure will. So if God allows, we're going to invite you back again. This is remarkable, because I was looking through here where you have the areas for us to do our own reflections, and it said list people in your family that maybe have passed, or someone close to you. And it was my mom, my dad, my brother, my aunt. And God dealt with me very, very similarly in the manner in which he dealt with you, just giving me grace to withstand the time. From grief to goodness, Evangelist Alisha Thorpe, please support her in her efforts from grief to goodness. We all are going to experience grief, so this can help us. Thank you again. Don't go away. We're coming back up with What's on Your Mind with Dr. Desarie Holmes.
Hello and welcome to everyone out there. Welcome to What's on Your Mind with Dr. Des. How you doing? I am Dr. Desarie Holmes, as Stephanie Miles likes to say, your resident psychologist. And today's show, we have another great show for you here on SMilesTV with What's on Your Mind with Dr. Des. And our guest today is Rachel Jackson, and this young lady is absolutely phenomenal. So I want to welcome Rachel Jackson. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm so good. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for being a willing participant as a guest. Just amazing young woman.
Thank you.
I met you about 7-8 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And was so impressed just having conversation. We were in 105-degree heat outside, tables, booths, and we were talking, and I was very impressed with you. So I've had an opportunity to watch you grow and develop. So you're on today, and I want to talk about your organization.
Okay.
So you are the founder and executive director.
Yes.
I got it right.
Yes.
Okay. Project Compassion.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So let's get going. What is Project Compassion all about?
So Project Compassion is a not-for-profit I started 13 years ago, and we started as outreach, and now we offer empowerment, self-esteem, and character building to high schools and middle schools. We offer therapy, and we are in the process of opening up a free cafe. We service homeless, low-income women and children. We work with youth 5th grade to 12th, and then we work with single mothers, or women actually, 18 to 25.
Okay. So now give us a little background on how you got started with Project Compassion.
So 18 years ago, I lost my mom, and I kind of was in this wilderness journey, as I call it, because I was pretty much empty, dealing with grief, dealing with just trying to process being 19 and feeling like super alone. And I saw a homeless man, and he was sleeping in a box. And for the first time in 4 years, I felt compassion. I felt the need to do something for someone other than myself and my son. And so, I don't know, I just felt moved to do something, and I just started making sack lunches. Literally I wrote my family and friends, and I was like, I want to do this. This is what I want to do. Some agreed to help. I was like, okay. And I got started, and 3 months into doing it, the Tyra Banks show called me. They did a feature, and that feature made the front page of the paper, and the rest literally became history because the floodgates of volunteering and serving and donating just opened up, and people wanted to. We were also going through that recession time where churches really couldn't afford to do the mission trips.
Right.
So we became like a local mission opportunity for people to help us. And so we went from making sack lunches to having 3 facilities that offer all of the different programs and services that we offer. So it was like an act of kindness, really.
Just amazing. I mean, your story, because I have heard your story. I've heard your background story because Ms. Jackson also speaks. She does public speaking as well. So I have had the opportunity to hear you speak. Amazing story, background. And in addition, your organization just continues to grow and grow and build because you actually now have a physical location. So tell us about the physical location and what services you offer there.
So in 2012, after doing outreach, I started really connecting with the homeless women. I was not a homeless mom, a single mom. And I really started connecting with that part of them. You know, I couldn't imagine sleeping on the street or having to stay in a shelter with my son. So as I began to engage, I realized a lot of them were lacking resources and skills. And so one of the local shelters, now closed, Second Chance Shelter in East St. Louis, they would call me when they would get new intakes to bring in food and supplies. That was kind of another part of me getting into the day-to-day operation. I'm still in my home at the time. And I never forget, as much as I have empowered, as much as God has allowed me to reach so many people, they've reached me back. And I never forget walking in, and I had a box, and I had gotten up that morning, and I had gotten my child off to school, and I had gotten ready, and I went in with a box full of stuff, And the mom walks out like dragging. She was on the back of her shoes. I mean, she hadn't prepared for me at all. And I remember sitting the box down and I'm like, this is not how this is going to work. I was like, if they want it, if she wanted as much as I wanted for her, I need a place to where they can come get it. This is too easy. This isn't empowerment. And so I started looking for a facility. And we found, we were first at one location. And we were blessed with the opportunity to move within a year. And that's our current location at 6609 West Main. So in 2011, we opened the Compassionate Resource Center. And what we do there is do a lot of teaching, empowerment, and building. But we also have a free store. Our free restaurant is on site. Our therapy center is on site. And we also offer an opportunity for them to have free diapers. And it's just a place where they can come and be empowered to get the services that's being offered to them for free.
So one of the things that there's several things what's on your mind with Dr. Des is all about, and part of that is educating, informing. We want to always demystify and the stigma of mental health, mental illness, and also we want to be able to provide resources. And so the resource that you are providing to the community is just absolutely invaluable. What we really talk a lot about on this show is how mental health, right? And so our health, no different than our physical health, our medical health, and our mental health is so very, very important. Because if we don't maintain our mental health, then that's how you get into mental illness and mental disorders. And so we need to be able to maintain our mental health. But you're also touching on something, too, that's very near and dear to my heart. And that's cultural competence. On our last show, we had one of our guests, we had Dr. Keisha Ross on our show, and we talked a lot about historical trauma. And we talked about how, you know, generationally, how that can be passed along behaviorally. Because when you know better, you do better. But if that's all that you know, then that's what you're going to do. Your mother did it, your mother before her did it, her mother before her did it. And so now you can very easily find yourself into 3 and 4 generations of the same behavior, and you get locked into that, and then you don't even know how or why. You just do it because it's just a part of you. So I'm glad to hear that you're taking that next step. And then that cultural competence piece of understanding that within particular communities, we have a way of communicating. We have a way of just doing. We have a way of existing. We have a way of being. It's the verb. Okay, and that is our verb. And so oftentimes it isn't this situation to where it's necessarily abusive. Okay, but is it necessarily the way that maybe another culture would handle it? No. However, we do have the opportunity to teach and correct. And so I like that. So good. I'm just so excited. And you see your energy. You have a lot of energy. Because that was one of the things that really struck me with you was this, you know, your energy. And even though I felt like we were just absolutely melting outside that day. I mean, it was 100.
It was hot.
It was like 103, 105 degrees outside, and we were just melting. My poor makeup, and it was just. But here you were with this energy. You were setting up your table and everything, and you have maintained that level of energy.
And I'll tell you this: one thing that I tell everybody, as much as you know, you all see the community, the world. Because I've been so blessed to stand on some amazing, like the platforms are just like, I get tickled. Like I really get tickled sometimes. But I can honestly say I found my purpose in life. And you hear people that I get up every day and do what I love. I really do get up every single day and I do what I love. I don't care how tired. I don't care how much I was drained the day before. I don't care how much is going on. I get up every day and I literally love the fact. Not that, okay, I started this organization. I love the fact that this organization exists and I was trusted with it. And so to be able to get up every day and do what I do and just work with the young people and just be in their world, the energy is not me because I'm tired. I got a long time ago. But just that energy comes from, this is my purpose. I'm not lost in it. It's about maintaining it and making sure that I'm not going off following all the other paths that try to lead you, but you're staying focused and true to what you're called to do.
And that in of itself is a blessing, and praise God for that, and praise God for you being willing to accept that task, that calling, because that's a calling, and then to have a love and a desire to work with young people is just absolutely yet another blessing, and we need more people like you. And so I just want to say to you, thank you, and I appreciate Project Compassion, and more than that, I appreciate you for having the vision and the willingness and the desire to step out there on faith and do it. And so thank you very much for coming on What's on Your Mind with Dr. Des.
Thank you for having
I
me.
certainly do appreciate it. And she's beautiful on top of all of that, inside and out. So I want to say, before we go, again, give us your address and telephone number where they can find you at Project Compassion.
So we're located at 6609 West Main. Our phone number is 618-397-1790. And our website is www.projectcompassionnfp.org.
Once again, thank you very much, Rachel Jackson, for coming on our show, What's on Your Mind with Dr. Des. And certainly for SMilesTV, Stephanie Anthony Miles. And we thank you so very much. And again, we are here transforming lives and renewing minds. What's on Your Mind with Dr. Des?
What's on Your Mind with Dr. Des? She had another great broadcast, and we want to thank you for tuning into SMilesTV. Don't forget, support Evangelist Alisha Thorpe, From Grief to Goodness. This is a great book and a great read, and you must be one who goes through this because it helped me. We want to thank Rachel Jackson, who was on What's on Your Mind with Dr. Des from Project Compassion. Look her up. She's doing some great things. Remember, only what you do for Christ will last. Keep smiling. You look better when you smile, and Jesus is the Lord. The Lord be magnified.
The Smiles Television Talk Show wants to showcase your business, organization, church, and activities. If you have an interest in being a guest on Smiles Television Talk Show, or if you have any show ideas, contact Stephanie Anthony Miles at smilestv777@gmail.com. You may also call 618-741-3770. Tell your friends to subscribe to the Smiles YouTube channel. Let Smiles TV increase your reach. Remember, you look better with smiles. IDEX Media does a lot. From IDEX Photography to IDEX Films. We help create forever memories and forever impressions. Image a nation, image a world. IDEX Media.
Awesome sauce. Yeah, baby. Wah, wah.